We spend about a third of our lives asleep and a quarter of this time dreaming, yet it is a part of our day that is almost entirely overlooked.
REM stands for rapid eye movements. It is a stage of sleep.
There are 5 stages of sleep. It takes about 90 minutes to get through them all once round.
The brainwaves during sleep gradually slow down. So when you're awake, you've got fast EEG.
EEG stands for electroencephalography. It measures the electrical activity in the brain.
When you go to stage 1 non-REM, it slows down. Stage 2, you know stage 2 by the presence of what we call K complexes and sleep spindles.
K complexes are brief high voltage peaks of brain activity and occur randomly throughout stage 2 sleep. Sleep spindles are small bursts of brain activity. They may represent periods where the brain inhibits processing to keep the sleeper in a tranquil state.
And then the brain waves slow down even more to go into slow wave sleep for stage 3 and 4.
Delta sleep is made up of high amplitude brain waves. It is usually associated with slow wave sleep.
When you come into REM sleep, your brain waves become like they are when they're awake. They become very fast. During REM sleep, your brain is again activated and your body is paralysed by what we call REM atonia, where your body is paralysed to prevent you from acting out your dreams.
I used to play basketball when I was a kid, and I dreamt that I did one of those Yankee ones where they grab the thing and dunk it, you know, and as I came down in my dream, I wrenched my ankle. I had actually blown out my Achilles, and I woke up and I couldn't walk on it. You know, like even when I went to the doctors, my Achilles was like sticking out like a little golf ball out the back of my foot. And he says, "What were you doing in bed?" The concept of the physical and the dreaming, I don't actually know if there's a lot of difference in it.
Some of the most common dreams involve flying, falling through space, being chased, monsters, nudity, paralysis and teeth.
One of my good friends, and he sold his soul to the devil, and what happened was he turned evil. And while this was happening, I was in Honolulu on a holiday retreat.
I was at like a carnival, and then all these ninjas like appeared out of nowhere. Then the head ninja guy who was on top of the hill was like, "Attack them," and we were like, "Ah," and then they attacked us, but then we attacked all of them and killed all of them by like snapping them on our knees.
Some dreams are so vivid that we cannot shake ourselves from their memory. Others fade away as the sun rises.
I think we can all remember times when we've woken up in a bit of a haze and thought, wow, that was a really interesting dream. By the time you get to school, it's slipped back into the unconscious and it's not able to access it.
They've shown that if you're unwell, you'll have more dreams, but I think it's because you're probably, say you've got the flu or something, you've got aches and pains, you won't be as comfortable sleeping, so you're more likely to wake during the night, and if you wake during a dream segment, you're more likely to remember it. So if you wake up in the middle of a dream, you've got a good chance of remembering it. If you've been asleep for 5 or 10 minutes afterwards, you have a less chance of remembering it, so it's directly related to how long after your dream that you wake up.
I was running around a cardboard box factory and this guy was chasing me with a gun, and then I'd hide behind a cardboard box and then he'd find me and then I'd wake up just before he'd shoot me.
And I decided to, walk down this wharf, and as I do, I get nearer and nearer to this black figure, and it's this old hag, and she asks me, "Do you want a hamburger?" So I said, "Yeah, sure." And she hands me over this fetus.
Some dreams can be warnings. Dreams often reoccur. They represent a problem in our lives.
On a soccer field, as the game progresses, I suddenly end up in a box. It just kind of zooms into a box, and I end up being trapped in a box, and I'm playing soccer by myself and I'm trying to escape from the box. I'm really scared. It's just full-on fear. I think it's because I've changed from social soccer to first 11 soccer. I'm probably freaking out because of that.
Every night, it only happened about 3 nights, there's like a building, and each level, the higher you go, the less chance you'll die. And each level you had to do a task or something so that you would survive.
I did go through a phase though where I was having those falling dreams. You know when you're falling off a cliff and you wake up just before you hit the ground?
So why do we dream? There are countless theories.
Because we can.
There's some things that change my life or change my way.
I think it's to make sense of the world around us.
I don't know.
Dreams reflect what they're thinking about in a sort of abstract and exaggerated way.
To give your brain something to do while you sleep.
The ancient Greeks always believed that it was signs, visions, and they would do things, act on what they saw on their dreams. Then would come the Middle Ages when they thought that dreams were all about sex and sin and therefore it was evil, so it was never spoken of. And then in modern times came along Sigmund Freud that actually opened up the idea that it was subconscious thought.
According to Dr. Andrew Veal from Auckland University, it could be to do with brain development because we appear to dream a lot as infants.
So it has been proven that dreams keep us sane. They have done tests where people have been allowed to sleep but not dream. And these people go mad in a very short space of time.
Some people think that it's because while you're asleep your visual field isn't being utilised and so the brain exercises the visual pathways while you're asleep.
I believe we are born with everything you've ever needed to know. Okay? I really believe that. Spirit will confirm that with me. All the knowledge you ever needed to know is right within you. We have data that is built in. It's like a blueprint in our brains. When we're in REM, I believe that the data is released, and I don't know if now I'm getting into the human conscious or are we going to step back into my subconscious that I don't function with when I'm awake. So when we go to sleep and we fall into that REM, the subconscious jumps alive and it starts creating stuff that we're not even aware of in our human experience.
We have our consciousness and our unconsciousness that interplay during sleep and wakefulness. When we dream, that consciousness disappears and we just live in the unconscious.
I know many clairvoyants and mediums and healers like myself have dreamt something and then you wake up and you think, far out, that was pretty trippy shit. I wonder what was going on there. And then that following day, that very thing that I dreamt that night is revealed to me in my day. Outside of the dreaming concept, I'd like to take it further than that into the belief that we create our reality with our thoughts. I do believe the same thing happens in dreams.
The first dream I had about him, he'd actually been resurrected from the dead. And the thing that got me most was his sheer arrogance that he'd actually managed to be resurrected.
I was out for dinner with some friends of mine. He happened to be the glassy at the restaurant there and was sitting down, and he came up behind me with a couple of glasses and he sort of looked at me and he handed me one of them. And I was like, okay, this isn't my glass. I sort of looked at him and he just smiled. It's not my job anymore, it's your job. It's your turn to pass on the legacy. I turned around and I looked at my friends, they were all looking at me real funny. And they're like, no, we didn't see anyone, we just saw you holding the glasses. And I was real confused. I looked out the window, I just saw him outside the window just smiling at me.
I was dreaming that we were having a memorial service in an old school hall for him. I would have 2 or 3 of these dreams a night, various times where he would just be there, and I feel that that was my mind getting myself to accept the fact that he's now gone.